Sit back and enjoy an hour of fascinating facts you didn't know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started.
If you have blue eyes, they are not actually blue. There is a scientific explanation for this. First of all, it is impossible for your eyes to be blue because there is no blue pigment in the iris. So why do we see them that color? The iris has two layers, the back layer, which contains brown pigment even in people with blue eyes, and the front layer, which lacks pigments in people with blue eyes. This phenomenon is similar to what happens in the sky. The atmosphere scatters the blue wavelengths of the sun, which makes us perceive the sky as blue. Under this theory, in the front layer of the iris where no pigment exists, what we see are the wavelengths reflected by the sun. This rare object is known as the Fukong Starstone, which is a piece of an asteroid that fell to Earth. It is named this way because it was discovered in the mountains near China in the year 2000. This beautiful meteorite is a palisite, a type of meteorite with translucent golden crystals of a mineral called olivine, embedded in a silver honeycomb of nickel and iron. This meteorite is so valuable that it is worth 4 times the price of pure gold. This is an extremely rare one-eyed shark. It looks like a terrifying cyclops. In reality, it is not a new species. It is an embryo found in the uterus of an already deceased adult shark. So far, only 2 specimens with this condition, known as cyclopia, have been found, a congenital deformity that occurs during gestation. Since none have been seen alive, it is believed that they die shortly after being born. Lobsters cannot die of old age because they possess an enzyme called telomerase, which allows them to regenerate their cells indefinitely. However, this does not mean they are immortal, as they can succumb to other causes, such as predators, diseases, or exhaustion. In addition, lobsters over 100 years old and very large have been recorded. The giant clam, a species of bivalve mollusk that inhabits the Pacific Ocean, can live more than 100 years. These impressive creatures are known for their longevity and size, with some reaching lengths of up to 4 feet. Ketchup used to be sold as medicine. The condiment was invented in China and was prescribed and sold to people with indigestion, as it was a mixture of anchovies with caramel, a bit unpleasant. It was in 1834 when the British added tomato to it, as it was beneficial for various conditions. In Peru, there is a juice made from frogs. It is a smoothie originating from indigenous communities, but has spread to the rest of the population because of its supposed health benefits. Its preparation is very controversial, as it affects the frog population in the area, and believe it or not, some of the frog species used are endangered. You might think this is a 2-headed animal, but it is not. This is an anteater, and what looks like a second head is actually its front leg camouflaged. The anteater uses its legs in such a way that it is hard to understand what you are looking at. The most curious thing is that its head looks very similar to its hind legs, which confuses predators even more. When a piece of bread with butter or jam falls to the ground, it seems like it always lands face down, staining the floor and making a mess. But this is not because one side is heavier. In fact, if it fell from a table 10 feet high, the jam side would land facing up. When panda cubs raised in captivity reach a certain age, they are separated from their mother to prevent her from hurting them. This is how they do it. They distract her with a bit of food. Meet Luba, a 1-month-old woolly mammoth baby found in 2007. The specimen lived almost 42,000 years ago in what is now the Russian region of Siberia. It is believed to be one of the most well-preserved animals ever found because Luba remained preserved after her body was covered with ice. She is so well preserved that scientists found traces of maternal milk inside her. She is currently exhibited at the Shemenovsky Museum in Russia. Have you ever seen this strange creature? It is a sea sheep, a species of sea slug. It has only been spotted in waters near the coasts of Japan, the Philippines, and Indonesia, and it measures just over 0.4 inches. It has a small protrusion that looks like horns, but they are actually chemical sensors used to find food. At any given moment, around 0.7% of the world's population will have had a few drinks too many. In the village of Dina in Montenegro, a mulberry tree has been acting as a water source for 25 years. When it rains heavily, the meadow where it grows has an underground network of springs that flood. When rainfall is excessive, the pressure pumps the water through the hollow trunk of the tree and it comes out through a hole like a waterfall. This elderly man built an interesting bridge over a stream without using a single nail. Amu, a craftsman from China, built this amazing bridge using ancient wood joining techniques. Despite being completely handmade and having no nails, it is quite strong. Starfish have the ability to regenerate lost limbs. If a starfish loses an arm due to a predator or another accident, it can grow the lost arm back. Flamingos can sleep standing on one leg. They have an amazing ability. They can remain standing on a single leg for long periods of time. This posture not only helps them conserve body heat, but it is also more comfortable for resting. Tang Xuan is the man who can distort his face more than anyone else in the world. His face can change shape in astonishing ways. This is his normal face, and these are some of the expressions he makes. According to a study conducted in 1995, ballet dancers have a higher pain tolerance than the general population. This is because they are constantly exposed to pain. This is the oldest stuffed toy in the world. It is estimated to be 2,300 years old. It was found frozen in the mountains of Siberia. It is made with sheep wool felt and reindeer fur. Meet the cutest sheep in the entire world. They are known as the Valais black-nosed sheep and have very soft white wool with a black face. They are also very gentle. Unlike other species, they get along very well with humans, which is why they are highly sought after not only for their wool, but also as companion animals. You probably did not know this, but the bones in your forearm twist every time you rotate your wrist. This is thanks to the movement of the radial head and the humerus. This is the geoduck clam, also known as the elephant trunk clam, due to its long siphon. Its shell measures between 6 and 8 inches long, but the mollusk can extend down to 3.2 feet. It is a species that lives only on the coasts of the northwestern United States and Canada. Its specimens are among the longest living in the world, and when they are adults, they have almost no predators except humans. This is what a water spring, also known as a natural spring, looks like. It is a natural source of water that flows out of the ground or between rocks. The water in springs can come from groundwater or from rainwater seepage. The ancient Egyptians slept on pillows made of stone. Comfort was completely absent from the earliest pillows, as they were made of stone. The reason this material was used was that the main function of the pillows was to keep insects from entering your mouth and ears while sleeping. Here you can see surgeons practicing with origami. This method is known as paper folding and plays a major role in Japanese culture. In this country, many surgery students are subjected to very difficult tests related to precision, and this technique is one of them. If you hear the word iPhone, the last thing you would probably think of is this. In 1998, a company called Infogear combined the telephone with the internet and a touchscreen hardware device. They named it iPhone 9 years before Apple. In 2000, Cisco Systems acquired Infogear, including the iPhone trademark. Apple and Cisco reached an agreement allowing both companies to use the iPhone name. Although it may sound contradictory, the inventor of cotton candy was a dentist named William Morrison from Nashville, who patented his cotton candy machine in 1899. The small arms of the Tyrannosaurus rex were not as weak as you might think. These tiny arms were actually extremely strong. Each one measured almost 3 feet and was packed with huge muscles. It is believed that they could exert forces greater than 440 pounds, and that with their claws they could injure and tear the flesh of their prey or opponents after grabbing them with their massive jaw. If you ever visit Disneyland, you will notice that in photos of Walt Disney, there is something strange. His hand is always in the same position. This is because most of the time he was holding a cigarette, which was edited out along with the smoke so as not to set a bad example for children. The probability of being struck by lightning and surviving to tell the story is 1 in 3 million. But statistics were not a good ally for Roy Sullivan, who was struck by lightning 7 times and without suffering serious injuries. This series of misfortunes earned him the nickname of the human lightning rod. This is the exact moment when a group of birds works together to fight a fire that someone attempted to start intentionally. Birds, like any animal on planet Earth, are capable of detecting danger and using their survival instincts to stay safe, performing specific and coordinated actions to protect their lives and the lives of their group. As you can see, nature is very wise, so it is our duty to take care of it. There is a variant of chess that combines the classic rules of the game with principles of quantum mechanics. It is called quantum chess. In this mode, the concept of check does not exist because the pieces can split and play in superposition. That means they can be in 2 squares at the same time and only define their position when they are attacked, which is why a threat is not enough. The reason for this is that they follow the principle of Schrödinger's cat. In the year 1920, one of the world's most important newspapers, the New York Times, criticized Robert Goddard, one of the pioneers of space travel, saying that space travel was pure fantasy, nonsense, and that it would be impossible to achieve. Time proved him right, and the newspaper years later had to publicly apologize. Zebras were never domesticated. Although they look similar to horses, zebras are much more aggressive and have a difficult temperament. They have resisted all attempts at domestication throughout history, which makes them unique among equids. Besides the typical northern lights, in Finland you can observe a phenomenon known as the pulsating aurora, where the light appears to beat rhythmically in the night sky. This effect is due to the interactions of charged particles from the sun with the Earth's magnetic field, creating a hypnotic and uncommon light show. There are prisons where inmates are allowed to have pets. In the United States, there are programs that allow prisoners to have a dog or a cat as a pet as long as they meet the requirements. This is done to ease some of the tension inside the prison and so that these little companions can be cared for by someone who otherwise could not have one. They are given up for adoption after some time unless their inmate has a sentence that allows them to leave with the pet. Polybius is the most mysterious arcade game of all time. It is believed to have existed in the 1980s, and not a single copy of it has been preserved. According to legend, this puzzle game, which appeared in a few locations in Portland, Oregon, was a United States government experiment capable of causing nightmares and memory loss in players. This urban legend was parodied by The Simpsons, with the Polybius arcade appearing in the game room Bart visits. The Voyager 1 space probe launched by NASA in 1977 is the farthest spacecraft from Earth. In August of 2012, it became the first man-made object to enter interstellar space. The main purpose of the mission was to explore the giant planets Jupiter and Saturn, from which it transmitted detailed images to Earth. This town transmitted the first interstellar tourism campaign inviting extraterrestrials to visit us. A group of scientists, linguists, and academics from Kentucky, United States, sent out a coded message hoping that it would be received by some alien in deep space. "We think it is worth the trip of 146 trillion miles," says this curious tourism advertisement presented as the first interstellar campaign. The engineer from Córdoba, Edmundo Ramos, has created the garbage-powered car, or drive on waste, as an alternative to petroleum fuel, and claims that with 30 pounds of garbage you can travel up to 62 miles. With his 1983 Ford Falcon Ranchera, he demonstrates an alternative to clean the planet by harnessing the energy of waste, and it is about to be registered worldwide. Best of all, it is not necessary to modify the car's engine. The combustion gases are completely non-polluting and also contribute 20% oxygen to the environment. If you mix iodine with starch, this happens. This reaction is known as the iodine clock. What happens is that when combining both substances with reagents, they change color from transparent to dark blue almost immediately, forming a substance called starch triiodide. And if that were not enough, you can alter its reaction time depending on the amounts you mix. This is how a manatee or dugong feeds. Basically, these mammals feed exclusively on the seafloor, mainly on seagrass and aquatic vegetation that they pull from the bottom with their snouts, almost like a vacuum cleaner. This species lives in warm, coastal, shallow waters in ecosystems that contain large amounts of vegetation. Adult specimens usually measure about 9.8 feet and weigh about 440 pounds. If you think you can outrun a river of lava, you are very mistaken. Although the lava expelled by volcanoes during eruptions does not always travel at the same speed, it generally moves at about 25 miles per hour. Considering that an average person can run only about 9 miles per hour, you would have no choice but to accept your fate. In Yosemite National Park in California, a natural phenomenon known as the firefall or horsetail fall takes place. For a few weeks in February, the sunset illuminates the waterfall in such a way that it appears to be burning in flames, creating a spectacular sight. Pandas are technically carnivores. You might not imagine this because we only see them eating bamboo, but their DNA classifies them within the bear family, whose diet includes some percentage of meat. However, this is not the case for pandas since they feed only on about 30 species of bamboo. This peculiarity is due to an adaptation to their habitat in the mountains of China, where this plant is abundant. And although these animals still have carnivorous intestines, their diet is vegan. The word salary comes from the Latin salarium, which referred to the payment in salt that Roman soldiers received. Salt was a valuable resource in ancient times, essential for preserving food and other uses. This payment system reflects how essential goods, and not only precious metals, have served as currency throughout history. Makeup has been used for thousands of years. Its use has a long history that dates back to antiquity. Civilizations such as the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans used makeup for aesthetic, religious, and ceremonial purposes. Makeup has evolved over the centuries and remains an important part of contemporary culture and fashion. These sandals from the brand Reef are an innovative and practical option for your summer days. With a built-in bottle opener in the design, they offer comfort and functionality with every step. Scientists have discovered this type of caterpillar called Rodinia boricunda, which screams every time you touch it. This is its defense mechanism when it feels threatened. It compresses its body and expels air to create this squeal. Kit and Paw Creations makes earrings inspired by food. Look at these churros, pork rinds, and pizza. These are skeleton flowers that become completely transparent when they come into contact with water. This happens because when they touch water, they lose the pigmentation that makes them white, but they regain their original color when they dry. They can be found in the most forested, humid, and cold areas of China, Japan, and the United States. Meet the blue scorpion, a unique species of arachnid found in Cuba and known for its vibrant blue color. This scorpion has attracted interest due to its potential medicinal properties. Its venom is being studied by scientists at the Monterrey Institute of Technology and the company Life Escozul, since one of the qualities of this animal's venom is its richness in a mixture of proteins and peptides that have been attributed beneficial characteristics such as eliminating cancer cells. In 2015, a couple from Illinois, Joel Berger and Ashley King, announced their wedding in front of a sign of the fast food chain Burger King. The company found out about the coincidence and decided to pay for the wedding, which was held on July 17th of that year in Jacksonville, Florida. The couple also received personalized gifts with the brand's logo and a paper crown. They said they were very grateful for the gesture and that it was a fun way to celebrate their love. You may not know that an 18-inch pizza has more pizza than two 12-inch pizzas. A pizza with a diameter of 18 inches has an area of 254 square inches, while a pizza with a diameter of 12 inches has an area of 113 square inches. This means that the total of two 12-inch pizzas is 226 square inches, which is less than a single 18-inch pizza. The largest bird in the world is the ostrich, which can reach a height of up to 8.9 feet and a weight of up to 350 pounds. This is how flamingos feed, by sucking water with the front part of their beak. These animals have a filamentous structure called a lamella that acts as a filter, trapping shrimp and other small aquatic creatures. The Tasmanian devil, a carnivorous marsupial endemic to the island of Tasmania, is famous for its fierce growl and great strength for its size. Interestingly, this small but powerful animal has survived extinction on the Australian mainland, but is endangered due to a contagious disease. Conservation efforts have intensified to protect this emblematic species from extinction. Have you wondered how a mother porcupine gives birth to her babies with so many quills? The truth is that at birth and during their first days of life, the quills of the babies are very thin and look like hairs. As they grow, the quills harden. We blink more than 5 million times a year on average. We blink about 15 times per minute, which equals once every 4 seconds. And if we stay awake about 16 hours, that is 14,400 blinks per day, adding up to more than 5 million blinks a year. The largest rubber duck in the world is 85 feet tall. An inflatable version of the famous rubber duck was created by Dutch artist Florentine Hofmann and has been exhibited in various cities around the world. This gigantic version of a childhood toy has been seen floating in ports and rivers, attracting fascinated crowds. This is unicorn meat, or at least that is what the can says, a product launched by the online store ThinkGeek on April Fool's Day in the year 2010. The intention was for customers to play a prank on their friends by giving them one of these cans. Of course, it is not unicorn meat, and it is not even edible, but it had a sale price of $40. These cat scratchers are decorated with some of the most famous paintings in human history, and include a base so your cat can destroy them comfortably. This is the Big Pineapple in South Africa, the largest pineapple-shaped house in the world. It stands 56 feet tall and occupies 4 floors. It was built in the 1980s in an area surrounded by pineapple plantations as a tribute to the region's most important fruit. Its interior is a sort of museum of pineapple-based products available for sale. The structure is made of metal, but the fruit's skin is made of steel and concrete coated with fiberglass. People or animals with one eye of a different color from the other have a condition called heterochromia of the iris. This occurs for various reasons, including certain diseases. That is why, even in cases where a person was born with this, it is recommended to visit an ophthalmologist to rule out that it originated from a medical condition. This is Alita succinia, a species of marine annelid. If you look at it closely, you can see how the blood flows through its dorsal vessel. This vessel is responsible for pumping the blood through its abdominal area up to its head. Meet the gaur, a wild bovine from India. Also known as the Indian bison, it is a large herbivorous mammal that inhabits the jungles and forests of India and other countries in Southeast Asia. It is the largest wild bovine in the world and is characterized by its impressive size, with males reaching up to 10 feet in length and weighing more than 2,200 pounds. The Mangalica, also known as the sheep pig, is the only pig in the world with abundant hair, very similar to wool. Despite their enormous size and short arms, it is believed that Tyrannosaurus rex were excellent swimmers and could swim for many miles in open waters. Koalas are known for their calm lifestyle and their tendency to sleep long hours. They spend most of the day sleeping, approximately 18 to 20 hours, which allows them to conserve energy due to their low-energy eucalyptus leaf diet. There is a bicycle with wheels made out of sneakers. They were engineered by Adidas in collaboration with the tire brand Continental. Each tire is made up of 6 sneakers. Giraffes have black tongues. Their long and strong tongues are a dark color, which helps protect them from the sun and prevent possible burns. What you see here is not edited. It is Australian motocross rider Robbie Madison surfing waves on his dirt bike. The bike's wheels are attached to special skis that allow him to ride on water. Be very careful stepping in puddles in the woods. In this video, you can see how deep and dangerous they can be. Coca-Cola can be used to remove rust from many surfaces. This is due to phosphoric acid, a substance that reacts with the oxygen in metals and removes the atoms of that gas. In this way, it can strip away corrosion. Despite this incredible ability, you do not need to worry about your stomach, as it is said that these drinks do not affect it, since we secrete even stronger substances. This is an orange river in Russia. And although it may look like a natural attraction, its color does not mean anything good. It is due to an environmental disaster that occurred when waste from a copper mine ended up in the river, giving it a murky and coppery appearance. Now, powerful acids run through those waters, killing the wildlife that lives there. In Thor Ragnarok, Hela tosses the Infinity Gauntlet aside because she knows it is fake. This is because it is designed for the right hand, while Thanos is left-handed. Without a doubt, the goddess of death was one step ahead of everyone. Zurich is considered one of the most expensive cities in the world. High living standards, high salaries, and economic stability have turned this city into a global financial hub. However, despite its high costs, Zurich is known for its excellent quality of life, efficient transportation, and low crime rate, which attract professionals and businesses from around the world. Reindeer eyes change color as the seasons change, golden in summer and blue in winter. Like other mammals, reindeer reflect most of the light through the retina during the summer, which is why their eyes look golden. In winter, a kind of enhanced night vision comes into play, in which a layer of tissue behind the retina becomes less reflective and appears blue. This change is vital for helping them survive the intense Arctic conditions. The Valley of Geysers in Russia, located in the Kamchatka Peninsula, is home to the second largest concentration of geysers in the world. Discovered in 1941, it is a place of intense geothermal activity where hot water and steam burst from the ground, creating a dynamic and ever-changing landscape. This is what the giant tortoises of the Galapagos Islands look like. These reptiles are among the longest-lived of all land vertebrates, with an average lifespan of more than 100 years. They are the largest tortoises in the world. Some specimens exceed 5 feet in length and reach 550 pounds in weight. With 7 Academy Award nominations, 49-year-old Kate Winslet finally managed to take home the Oscar for Best Actress for the movie The Reader. The most curious thing is that Kate keeps her Oscar in her bathroom at home. The British actress explained that she does this so her family members can pretend they have won it and practice their acceptance speeches. Winslet said you can always tell when someone has done it because they stay in there a bit longer after flushing the toilet. Fish rain is a real phenomenon. Although it sounds like a myth, fish rain occurs in some parts of the world and is believed to happen when fish are sucked up by strong winds from nearby bodies of water and then dropped on land during storms or tornadoes. This man turns car dust into actual works of art. Interestingly, they are made with the dirt accumulated on car windows. We have probably all done it at some point, but never with the talent of Scott Wade, an American known as the Da Vinci of dust. Each piece takes him between 40 minutes and 4 hours. He has even gained international recognition and has exhibited his work in several countries. The strongest material produced by nature is spider silk. It is made of a mixture of protein crystals in an amino acid matrix. Each spider gland produces a different protein that gives the silk its unique physical properties. For example, the flagelliform gland produces sticky fibers to catch prey. Domino's Pizza, founded in 1960 by brothers Tom and James Monahan, began as a small pizzeria called Dominic's in Michigan. The name was changed to Domino's when Tom became the sole owner. The most interesting thing is that the company implemented an innovative fast delivery strategy, promising that pizzas would arrive in 30 minutes or less, which revolutionized the home delivery market. Although they eliminated that guarantee in 1993 for safety reasons, Domino's remains a global leader with more than 17,000 stores in more than 90 countries. Visor Technologies designed a shield that covers the entire head and attaches from the waist. According to them, it protects against any virus or pathogen. If, besides staying healthy, you want to look like Buzz Lightyear or an astronaut, it can be yours for only $172. The Dead Sea, located between Israel, Palestine, and Jordan, is the lowest point on Earth at sea level and one of the saltiest bodies of water in the world. This high salinity allows people to float effortlessly and is known for its therapeutic properties for the skin. What you're observing is an optical illusion known as the parallax effect in airplanes. This phenomenon occurs when a plane appears to be motionless in the air even though it is actually moving forward. This effect happens when the plane travels at low speed while the observer is moving. Despite looking like a mere simulation, it is a real phenomenon. What you see on the screen are images of the Rock Block, the smallest portable record player in existence. This device was created due to the renewed growth and demand for music in vinyl format. The curious record player is made from bamboo wood and measures only 4 inches long and 2 inches wide, allowing it to be carried in a bag. It also has a tiny speaker that lets you play your music in good quality wherever you go. The Motoroid 2 is a conceptual motorcycle by Yamaha that can keep itself upright and obediently comes when called by its owner. It is equipped with a high-precision balancing system guided by artificial intelligence with autonomous technology that allows it to be aware of its position, as well as adjust its center of gravity to lean on its own and remain upright. This is a single-wheel vehicle, a giant wheel. Here you can see Dr. Archibald Purves driving his Dynasphere in September of 1932. It was a mono-wheel vehicle design that he patented in 1930. To create it, he was inspired by a sketch made by Leonardo da Vinci. It was 10 feet tall and weighed about 990 pounds, and believe it or not, it could reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. Although the vehicle worked perfectly, it was a complete failure because it was incredibly difficult to maneuver or brake, making it extremely impractical. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest coral reef system in the world. Located off the coast of Queensland, Australia, it spans more than 1,430 miles in length. It is home to an incredible diversity of marine life and is one of Australia's most popular tourist destinations. Trees recognize their offspring. If a tree of the same species grows nearby, they send carbon and nutrients through their roots so that it grows healthy. They also stop the growth of their roots so the young ones have space to grow. This is Bobby Leach, the second person to survive going over Niagara Falls. He achieved this feat in 1911. He climbed inside a large metal barrel, went over the falls, and lived to tell the tale. But he did not come out unscathed. He had to spend more than 6 months in the hospital recovering from the injuries he suffered during the fall. The most curious part is that 15 years later, he injured his leg after slipping on an orange peel, which caused an infection from which he died a few months later. Christopher Robin from the famous Winnie the Pooh story really existed. He was the son of the author of the original Winnie the Pooh tales. He and his stuffed animals served as inspiration for one of the most famous children's stories in history. Today, Winnie the Pooh and his friends are displayed at the New York Public Library. This is the Crooked Church of Greece. It is located in the abandoned village of Ropoto in the heart of the country. The church tilted 17 degrees after a landslide that sank the village 6 inches. The church's tilt is greater than that of the Tower of Pisa, which leans almost 4 degrees. In Spain, there is a place called the Root of the Faces, located 2.5 miles from Buendia in Cuenca. There, you can find around 20 sculptures and bas-reliefs ranging from 3 to 20 feet in height, carved by Eulogio Reguillo and Jorge Maldonado between 1992 and 2007. Access is free, and the route can be walked in about 1 hour because the path is almost completely flat. Three Gorges is the largest dam in the world and the most expensive construction ever built. This hydroelectric plant, located on the Yangtze River in China, had an approximate cost of $75 billion. It is 7,653 feet long and 594 feet tall. Thanks to this, it can hold back water almost 300 feet above the level of the river, which is equivalent to about 42 million tons. Sony was founded in 1946 by Masaru Ibuka and Akio Morita in Tokyo, Japan, as a small radio repair shop. In 1950, Sony launched its first product, a transistor radio model that revolutionized sound portability. This success pushed the company toward continuous innovation, leading to the development of the first cassette player and later the Walkman in 1979, which transformed the way people listen to music. Over the decades, Sony diversified into areas such as video games, film, and music, becoming a global entertainment giant. The Bahamas hide beneath the ocean surface, the largest underwater sculpture in the world, which measures 16.4 feet in height and weighs 132,000 pounds. The sculpture, called Ocean Atlas, represents the impacts of climate change on marine ecosystems. It was installed in 2014 and is expected to last at least 100 years to eventually become an artificial reef. Meet Impression Lu Sanjay. It is a nighttime musical performance held on the waters of the Li River in China. For this reason, it is the largest natural auditorium that exists. It was created in 2004 by Chinese film director Zhang Yimou. The show is divided into 7 scenes over 70 minutes, and the more than 600 performers who participate in the show are inhabitants of the native minority in the area. The gecko is a reptile that apparently never gets wet. In a study conducted by biologists at the University of Queensland, it was discovered that the skin of some geckos can repel water. All of this is due to tiny hairs on their bodies that have the ability to gather liquid and push it away. Today, scientists are conducting experiments to determine whether the skin of this lizard can be used for medical purposes. People who look like us but are not twins are called doppelgangers. These similarities can be attributed to coincidences in physical features, such as facial structure or hair color, due to genetic variability within a population. Sometimes these similarities can be surprising, but there is no direct genetic relationship between the individuals. The quadrupoint between Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe is so close that the borders almost touch. Although there is no official monument marking this crossing, it is a unique point in the world due to historical disputes over the exact boundaries. The place is more of a geographical concept than a tangible reality for tourists. Cats use a precise walking method called direct registering. This peculiar walking style consists of placing each back paw directly into the footprint of the corresponding front paw. This method allows cats to move silently and efficiently, minimizing their impact on their surroundings while ensuring a more stable walking base. LG impressed everyone with its transparent television, the LG Signature, the first transparent OLED. It is 77 inches, and even when it is turned on and displaying images, you can still see what is behind it. The town of Hum in Croatia is considered the smallest in the world, with a population ranging between 17 and 23 inhabitants. It measures less than 328 feet long by 131 feet wide. Enzo Ferrari worked as a driver and sports director for the Alfa Romeo brand. He later decided to separate and founded his own company, Auto Avio Costruzioni, which would eventually become Ferrari. The Eiffel Tower grows in height during the summer due to thermal expansion. Because of the sun's heat, during this season, the metal of the Eiffel Tower expands and causes the tower to grow in height by up to 6 inches. This thermal expansion phenomenon is temporary, and the tower returns to its original height when it cools down. Red Bull was founded in 1984 by Dietrich Mateschitz and the Thai businessman Chaleo Yovidia. What is interesting is that the energy drink was inspired by a Thai drink called Krating Dang, which means Red Bull. Mateschitz discovered the drink during a trip to Thailand and decided to adapt it for the Western market. Unlike traditional marketing strategies, Red Bull focused on extreme events and adventure sports, becoming a symbol of an active and bold lifestyle. Today, Red Bull is one of the most recognized brands worldwide in the energy drink sector. Similar to equestrian jumping, Sweden practices kaninhop, a jumping competition but with rabbits. The rabbit that completes the course in the shortest time or with the fewest mistakes wins. Meet James Cook, the astonishing British artist who creates beautiful drawings using only a typewriter. This architecture student became interested in this unusual discipline after reading about Paul Smith. The realism of his drawings is so impressive that no one would ever guess they are made with a typewriter. James Cook holds exhibitions and even accepts drawing requests that cost around $170. The pink dolphin is perhaps the most charismatic species of river dolphin in the world. Besides its characteristic color, it has a series of adaptations to its habitat in the rivers and lakes of the Amazon that make it unique. For example, it has short fins and extra vertebrae in its neck that allow it to move easily to search for food among roots and aquatic vegetation. In addition, they travel long distances through large rivers. Calling soccer soccer originated in Great Britain more than 200 years ago. However, starting in the 1980s, it stopped being used in that part of the world because they wanted to differentiate it, as the term now sounded very American to them. Water can be boiled without being hot. You can test this at home with a syringe. You do not need the needle, so it is not dangerous. You only need to take a little bit of water, being careful not to fill the tube completely because you need the empty space. Then, you must cover the tip of the syringe so no more air or water enters. In fact, you can use your own finger for that. Now, to make the water boil, you only need to pull the plunger of the syringe. This happens due to the change in the vapor pressure of the water. Located in Scotland, the Overton Bridge, built in 1859, connects two hills over the Overton Burn and has gained sad fame due to a series of mysterious incidents. Since the 1960s, numerous dogs have jumped off the bridge, many of them dying, which has led to speculation about possible supernatural forces. Despite scientific explanations suggesting that the scents of animals and rodents at the bottom of the ravine attract the dogs, the phenomenon remains enigmatic. The Cayman Islands are named this way due to the large number of caimans that inhabited the region when Christopher Columbus first arrived in 1503. By 1530, the trio of islands was called Caimanas, derived from the native word for the crocodiles that used to inhabit the islands. The name Caimanas eventually became Cayman, and that has been the name of the islands ever since. This is how an ultrasound is performed on the largest species of shark in the world. Whale sharks measure nearly 40 feet long, but since they usually swim at more than 5,900 feet deep, not much is known about their behavior. This is why a group of marine biologists has dived into the ocean to study the reproductive system. The researchers equipped themselves with wetsuits, a propulsion system, an oxygen tank, and of course, an ultrasound machine. The goal is to study them in order to help them so their population does not continue to decline. Jewel Changi Airport in Singapore has a record-breaking waterfall. According to the airport, this impressive indoor waterfall is the tallest in the world at 131 feet. And at night, it becomes a screen for a light show that visitors can enjoy every day. This is how kangaroo rats escape their predators. Their ability comes from their long legs, which allow them to propel themselves and reach enough height to escape rattlesnakes. Another factor that influences their skill to escape is their incredibly fast reflexes. To give you an idea, they react in less than half the time a human eye takes to blink. Some researchers believe this is due to their ears, which may allow them to sense the slightest movement from their attackers. The stone wall in Croatia. This lesser-known but impressive wall is often called the Small Wall of China. Built in the 14th century to protect the city of Stone, the wall is approximately 3.1 miles long and is one of the longest stone structures in Europe, offering spectacular views of the surrounding landscape. Yoga, a spiritual and physical practice originating in India, has been practiced for more than 5,000 years. Although yoga is known mainly in the West for its physical postures, the asanas, it originally included a broader set of spiritual and philosophical disciplines. Yoga is an integral part of India's spiritual tradition and is considered a tool for achieving inner peace and enlightenment. Here is what the inside of a turtle's shell looks like. This part of its body is very peculiar and sets it apart from any other known animal. This element functions as an external skeleton, and just as you cannot remove your bones, a turtle cannot live without its shell. It is its rib cage, its spine, its vertebrae, and even its sternum. This structure is made up of about 60 bones covered by keratin plates. This illustration shows us the 3 tallest mountains in the world if measured from sea level. Everest is the tallest at 29,029 feet. If measured from its base under the sea, Mauna Kea is more than 33,500 feet tall. And if measured from the center of the Earth, Chimborazo is the highest peak in the world, surpassing Everest by almost 5,900 feet. This is the Jenko keyboard, one of the strangest due to its design, which has a different layout from the piano keys we normally know. This distribution aims to make chord and scale construction easier. This model also tends to be smaller, since it can measure just 35 inches long, while a conventional keyboard is usually around 48 inches. This makes it possible for one hand to reach larger intervals. One of the grotesques on the Washington National Cathedral, which traditionally are gargoyles that help drain water from the rooftops, is shaped like Darth Vader from Star Wars. It was the result of a children's competition where they drew designs they wanted for these sculptures when the Northwest Tower was being built. Some fire trucks have independently steering rear wheels. This helps the truck move with more agility and makes it easier to maneuver in curves and small areas. Look at the fantastic augmented reality cover of this yoga book, created by artist Alexander Ward. You need to use an Instagram filter to see it with your phone. Tattoo artist Luke Cormier, better known as Mr. Sticker, specializes in making tattoos that look like stickers. They are so incredibly realistic that it seems as if you could peel them right off your skin. This is a cone beam volumetric CT scan of a woman who is 37 weeks pregnant. The level of detail is impressive. The German company Festo presents Bionic Bee, a robotic bee capable of flying autonomously in a swarm. Each bee, weighing approximately 1.2 ounces and with a wingspan of 9.5 inches, is handmade. And because of this, it incorporates an automatic calibration function. The eruption of Krakatoa in 1883 was one of the most powerful ever recorded in history and generated a tsunami that produced waves up to 130 feet high. Located in the Sunda Strait between the islands of Java and Sumatra in Indonesia, it caused the death of more than 40,000 people, and the force of the explosion has been compared to the Hiroshima bombs. This image you see was the first photograph ever taken with a cell phone in history. The subject is Sophie, the newborn daughter of Philippe Kahn, the inventor of cameras in mobile phones. He took the photo with a modified Motorola StarTAC. What you are seeing is known as sailing stones, and they are capable of moving on their own. For years, scientists could not explain how this was possible. Some theories even attributed this phenomenon to alien intervention or some supernatural force. But it was recently discovered that it simply happens because at night, a thin layer of ice forms beneath them. When the wind blows, it causes them to move several dozen yards in a single night. Even so, it still looks unreal. Albinism does not only exist in humans, but also in animals. It is a genetic condition that affects the ability to produce melanin, causing them to have none or very little. It is a rare disorder that has been documented in nearly all vertebrate species, including humans. Albinism can have consequences for animals, such as difficulty finding food, trouble protecting themselves, and reproductive problems, among others. Soccer in Brazil is more than a sport. It is a national passion. The Brazilian national team is the most successful in the history of the FIFA World Cup, with 5 titles won. The famous yellow Brazilian jersey, known as the canarinha, which in Portuguese means canary, is a symbol of national pride. Figures like Pelé and Zico have elevated Brazilian soccer to an art form, being idolized throughout the country. How many knees do you think an elephant has? Normally, we would think it has 2, but in this case, it is the only animal that has 4 knees. There are animals with 2 elbows or 2 knees, but only the elephant has this curious peculiarity. Have you ever wondered why we feel a lump in our throat when we are about to cry? This happens because of an involuntary reaction triggered by our autonomic nervous system. What happens is that it sends signals to the glottis, an opening at the back of our throat, so it can allow air into the lungs. By doing this, this part creates an excessive tension we are not used to. Interestingly, the sensation of the lump increases when we are already crying, because in general, the nose becomes congested. Here is Simba, the first lion cub conceived artificially. The extraordinary event took place at the Singapore Zoo and was a complete surprise for the scientific community. The baby lion was named Simba in honor of the character from the famous Disney movie The Lion King. This birth was widely celebrated around the world due to the significant decline in the lion population in recent years. He is the first cub, has taken his first steps, and is expected to grow up happy and healthy. India's train system is one of the largest and oldest in the world, with more than 42,000 miles of tracks connecting cities and towns throughout the entire country. Interestingly, every day, Indian trains transport more than 23 million people, which is equivalent to the entire population of Australia. This vast railway system is an essential backbone for India's economy and society. According to science, the easiest way to reduce body temperature is not by drinking water, but by pouring it over your head. Have you ever seen those cups that fill from the bottom? This is how they work. When they enter the machine, the dispenser lifts a thin magnet that allows the liquid to enter. Watch how it seals when you remove the dispenser. Ray-Ban, founded in 1937 by the company Bausch & Lomb, originally created its iconic aviator sunglasses for pilots of the United States Air Force. The goal was to reduce glare at high altitude without sacrificing visibility. The name Ray-Ban comes from the combination of ray and ban, reflecting its original purpose of blocking sun rays. Over time, its models became fashion symbols used by celebrities and iconic figures, establishing the brand as a global fashion giant. The Celts were known for their use of symbols and complex patterns both in their art and in their writing. One of the most famous is the Celtic knot, an intricate design with no beginning or end that symbolizes eternity. NASCAR drivers lose a significant amount of weight during races. This is mainly due to dehydration, which happens because inside the cars, drivers experience temperatures of more than 212 degrees Fahrenheit during 2 or 3 hour races. For this reason, drivers must maintain diets rich in carbohydrates and proteins so they do not lose muscle mass. At the same time, they must exercise enough so their weight does not fluctuate, as this would affect the performance of the vehicles. Anteaters eat more than 35,000 ants a day. They use their sharp claws to dig into the ground or open rotten logs in search of insects. This man has an extraordinary talent for playing billiards. He is able to perform these incredible tricks on the table. There is an app to blow out candles. It does not actually blow them out. It extinguishes them with sound waves. The red rock formations of Sedona in Arizona, United States, are famous for their red sandstone formations that illuminate the city with a vibrant glow at sunrise and sunset. The energy of these formations also attracts those seeking spirituality, making Sedona a center for spiritual retreats and meditation. This can happen on the skin of people with circulatory problems and fluid retention. Some animals have false eyes on their fur to deter predators. For example, tigers have white spots on the back of their ears to prevent attacks from behind. Other animals, such as vultures, appear to have much larger eyes to look more intimidating. The United States Patent Office has the power to cancel any patent if they consider it a threat to national security or a risk to the stability of the economy. To this day, more than 5,000 patents have been banned. Meet Ingenuity, the Mars helicopter and the first to fly on another planet. It flew on Mars for 3 years, and its life ended at the beginning of this year. This helicopter crashed and its blades were broken. This is how they add the cream to cookies. A cylindrical pump pours the cream onto the flat side of the cookies at high speed. The machine is able to add cream to 5,000 cookies every hour. These billiards professionals demonstrate incredible precision and strategy in every shot and every movement. In the canals of Xochimilco are the famous trajineras, boats used both for transportation and tourism. Trajineras are long, narrow wooden boats painted with bright colors and eye-catching designs. Armadillos are almost armored. In Texas, a man fired at an armadillo that was wandering on his property, but the bullet bounced off the animal's shell and injured him in the face. Armadillo shells are incredibly tough and resistant, which can lead to these curious incidents. This is a moire pattern, and it forms when two grids of lines, which may be straight or curved, overlap at a certain angle or when such grids have slightly different sizes. Human vision creates the illusion of horizontal dark and light bands that overlap the fine lines. These fine lines are the ones that actually form the pattern. Human teeth are almost as hard as diamonds. Although it may be hard to believe, our teeth are not ordinary bones, but have 3 layers made of mineral tissues. One of them is the dental enamel, which is very hard and resistant, and only diamond surpasses its hardness. The logo of the Spanish lollipop brand Chupa Chups was designed by Salvador Dalí, and it took him only 1 hour to create it. Card throwing is without a doubt an incredible skill. Achieving power and speed is easy. All you need to do is hold the card with your index and middle finger, then wind your arm so that the force comes from behind, and throw it as fast as you can. With a bit of precision, you could perform these incredible tricks and surprise your friends. Have you ever wondered how the special effects of old movies were made? Here you can see an example. In the original Star Wars trilogy, the asteroids and meteors were simply potatoes painted gray. The special effects team found creative ways to produce these incredible scenes in a very simple manner. The University of Oxford is older than Aztec culture. Although the exact date of its creation is unknown, there is evidence that the university was teaching classes in 1096. Until Donald Trump arrived at the presidency of the United States, John F. Kennedy had been the richest president in history. Japanese omoshiroi notebooks at first appear to be a simple cube of paper notes, but as you use them, they begin to resemble an architectural object. Giraffes are the only mammals that do not produce any sound because they do not have vocal cords. To communicate, they use body movements and scent. In addition, they can communicate using sounds that cannot be perceived by the human ear. This was the historic moment when the Jiza River Bridge in Fenji County, China was completed. The bridge was inaugurated this past January 29th. In 2007, actor Nicolas Cage outbid Leonardo DiCaprio at an auction. The item in question was an authentic dinosaur skull, and the winning bid was $276,000. However, in 2015, the government of Mongolia demanded that it be returned because it had been sold without permission. So, despite his purchase, Cage had to return the skull to Mongolia, a true Hollywood-style drama. Meet the Australian possum, the largest of those that live in urban areas. Generally, individuals measure between 14 and 23 inches long, not counting the tail, since it is appendicular. Adult specimens weigh between 2.6 and almost 10 pounds. Usually, males are larger than females. It is a nocturnal and solitary species that feeds mainly on vegetables, but it also eats insects, rats, eggs, and bird chicks, as well as other small vertebrates. The first scorer in history was Kenyon Davenport, a player for the Bolton Wanderers. His goal happened on Saturday, September 8, 1888, playing against Derby County. As a right back, everyone in Bolton knew exactly who Kenyon Davenport was, a working-class kid who was happy playing soccer for a living and also representing his country. His achievement marked a milestone in the sport, being the first goal in the era of professional soccer and establishing a significant precedent in its evolution. This is the Langkawi Sky Bridge, the longest curved bridge in the world. This impressive structure is located on top of Mount Machenchang in Malaysia. It is 410 feet long and stands an extraordinary 2,300 feet above sea level. The most impressive thing about this structure is that it sits in the middle of a vast jungle and offers truly spectacular views. Zoom was founded in 2011 by Eric Yuan, former vice president of engineering at Cisco WebEx. What is interesting is that Yuan left Cisco because he felt that the existing video conferencing platform was complicated and not intuitive. He set out to create a service that would be easy to use, and in 2013, he launched Zoom, which quickly gained popularity. However, its use skyrocketed during 2020, becoming an essential tool for remote work and distance education. At its peak, Zoom reached more than 300 million daily meeting participants. Bread, one of the oldest staple foods, dates back at least 30,000 years. Archaeologists have found evidence that prehistoric humans made a primitive form of bread from ground plant starches mixed with water. Blue M&Ms did not exist before 1995. Instead of this color, the candies had a beige tone. Currently, the colors you can find in a package are brown, yellow, green, red, orange, and blue. Did you know that there is a mountain in China that has 5 colors? It is called Rainbow Mountain, and it owes its appearance to erosion and the minerals present in its rocks. About 100 years ago, pit bulls enjoyed a good reputation and were often called nanny dogs. This name was due to their friendly nature and their ability to care for children. They were considered loyal, protective, and affectionate dogs, especially in family settings. Their history goes back to the early 20th century in the United States, when they were seen as ideal companions for children with very reliable behavior. Some species of ducks can dive for more than 1 minute and reach depths of up to 33 feet. This is possible because they have feathers that are completely waterproof, allowing them to sink and dive easily. Unlike most mammals, giraffes do not yawn. Scientists believe this is due to their unique physical structure. Being animals with long necks, they do not need the same amount of oxygen in their brains as other animals, making the act of yawning unnecessary.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe so you don't miss more interesting content. Leave your comments and click on any of these videos. See you next time.